right, thank you so much for joining us this morning. The first conversation we're having is a little interesting. I think that's the word that I would use. Recently, the Cybercrimes Prohibition, Prevention and so on Amendment Act 2024 has introduced several significant changes to strengthen Nigeria's cybercrime security framework and address gaps in the previous legislation. But the one that is troubling people is one that says that if you are it's alluded that if you are the admin of a WhatsApp group,
yes,
that you stand guilty of anything that can. Anyway, the part we want to talk about concerning the Cybercrimes Act this morning is the one that has to do with social media. Let's have a quick conversation with three people joining us today. Oluleke Olatunji is Chief Information Security Officer of the Alternative Bank. He joins us here in the studio. Thanks for joining us today.
Glad to be here. It's my side here.
Yeah. Christian Love is a digital technology attorney. He joins us here as well. Morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good to see you here.
And joining us virtually is Uche Onyekwe, a cybersecurity specialist. Thank you so much for joining us, sir.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Let me begin with you, Mr. Olatunji. Is there a cause for concern?
Well, first of all, thanks for the privilege of coming on your show. I think for me, the spirit of the act basically is to counter issues around misinformation that actually came up, especially after COVID and the elections. Specifically as it relates to social media, there are concerns, legitimate concerns about people just, in the name of speaking their mind, not sticking to facts. And sometimes those facts get a life of their own and result in social issues, right? So what I think the Act is trying to say is to give responsibility to those who can control certain narratives that are untrue, and ensure that they're held responsible. For example, the WhatsApp group you mentioned. If you are an admin of a WhatsApp group and someone posts an information that is not verifiable, you created the group or you have access to moderate the group, it's your responsibility to delete such messages. However, if it comes to light that you didn't do that and results in in something that affects the society or harm to someone else, you will be held liable.
Right. And, be that as it may, do you think that this act, talking to you now, Mr. Love, do you think that this act has been able, to do that, which he has just said, to be able to regulate as such? Or do we still have slips here and there where a lot of misinformation still hangs in the air and there's really not much that we can do about it because it's already in the space?
Thank you once again for the opportunity to be here. Just like you said, the spirit and the letter of the law is designed to be able to find the nexus between the freedom of thought and expression and the ability not to be able to use that freedom of thought, because where your right of expression stops, that's where someone else starts. And there's a misconception about Section 19 about the WhatsApp. It's not really in the Act. Section 24, subsection 1 is the major framework that was amended to introduce a deliberate intent to do something, to do harm to another person.
So how do we, who legislates deliberate?
So the intention, in law, there is what we call the mens rea and actus rea. Mens rea is the intention, actus reus is the actions. So the law enforcement agents, for example, two brothers from Nigeria sent an Instagram picture posing as a girl to a guy in the United States. And one of the things that he said, if you don't pay us $1,000, we're going to expose, after he exposed some of his nudity. And when he said that I don't have the money, they said, you better do it, otherwise we're going to make you do it. And what happened? He committed suicide. And they were extradited from Nigeria. The Nigerian police was able to trace everything and ensure that they were they were prosecuted. And they've been sentenced to almost 17 years imprisonment. For Nigerian, we just have 3 years or a fine of 7 million. So what I'm trying to say is the intent of the Lord is not to attack WhatsApp admin, no. Is to ensure that there is a balance between my freedom of thought and expression and the ability to harm another person using my
that
information.
I ask again, my apologies, Mr. Love. The question, I'm coming to you, Mr. Uche. The question I'm asking is, how do you legislate intent? The section 24 sub 1 says, a person who knowingly or intentionally sends a message or other matter by means of computer systems that is grossly offensive, he knows to be false for the purpose of causing annoyance, inconvenience, danger,
and threat to life.
And all of that, commit an offense under this act. Who legislates intent?
Okay, so
because every message you send
has an intention
is intended.
Yes, so the intention here is to cause harm. Intention here, which is the example that I gave, you have to, through the communication channels.
My apologies. What if the person just sends a message innocently? And unfortunately, it causes harm.
Okay, so number one, there is no ignorance in law. Yes, you can't send things innocently, but during the course of investigation, questions are going to be asked. It's not just you have committed an offense, we're going to arrest you. No, Nigerian police are extremely effective when they are enabled to carry out their task. So the intent is discovered during the course of investigation. Questions are going to be asked. Why did you send this? What was your intention? And you are going to be able to clarify whether it's just a simple message or it's a clear act of deliberate misinformation to harm another person.
Right. Okay, so Mr. Uche Oyekwe, to get to you now, a lot has gone down. We've talked about intent, who regulates intent, but there's also some, privacy violations when it comes to this. One of the interesting sections is Section 10, which makes it an offense to record a private conversation. One can get up to 2 years imprisonment, I believe. Talk us through some of the sections of the amendments, that's jarring to you, that you think that, maybe it's untoward or something, or it shouldn't even happen.
The reality is that you really cannot go about recording private conversations without the consent of the other person. We can get up to 2 years jail term for doing that. That's really being sneaky, right? Cyber stalking is now more specific with the 324 amendment that has provided some clarity around what cyber stalking is. It's not you can no longer be charged for just being simply annoying online. It's now about you posting something that is harmful, a harmful content like a threat or a false information. So really, surveillance powers have been expanded. The security agencies now have the right to clamp down on all of these, irrespective of the amount of whether your messages are encrypted or whatever it is. The reality is that you really cannot record private conversations. Other people find it jarring, but in the law, there's really nothing like innocent. There's really nothing like you not knowing what you're doing. Before you take certain actions, you do have to ask for permission, and that's what the Cybercrime 2024 Act says.
Right.
Okay, go ahead.
Right. This act has gone through several amendments. We're coming from 2015.
2015.
Yes, yeah. And this is 2025. Do you think the amendments are how would I put it, are enough? Do you think more needs to be done to put into consideration many more, nuances that needs to put people in check so that harm is not caused, people don't commit suicide, people don't just, shut themselves out or suffer depression or what have you, or people don't feel threat to their lives because, of social media, cyberbullying, or what have you that is always happening. Not to you, sorry, Mr. Uche. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think the act has been updated to provide some clarity and focus on cyber stalking and releasing false information. So really, the ability of the security agencies to determine here what a false information is where the trick is actually. It is now in the hands of a strengthened judicial system and our civil groups to be able to determine and protect some of these laws, because really it can be misused. Laws are like are just there to guide us. You can either use it the right way or you can misuse it. But the reality is that misinformation and malinformation, as long as it has been proven that the intent is to misinform or to malign someone else, you can be held. You can be held liable. A lot has been done to bring us to where we are right now. There is certainly room for improvement, but I think that the 2024 Act does provide a lot of upgrades and a lot of clarity, and we have to focus on the punishment for misinformation and for cyber stalking.
I'm a little bit fuddled, Mr. Uche, but let me come to you, Mr. Olatunji. One major challenge that I see so far is the awareness of people about the law. The moment you mention social media, it is natural for the youth population to take it personal and feel personally attacked.
Yes.
It is natural.
I'm attacked.
And then add to that the fact that people will just hear of it, and then before you know what is happening, I'm group admin of a WhatsApp. And it will seem like it's just WhatsApp to people. They don't know about it. Now, yes, we can say that part of the education is what we are putting out now, but how much would you say we need to do in terms of advocacy for this law? I know that before the bill became a law in 2015, there was a lot of noise about the cybercrime law. But now, people are just hearing it like in hushed tones. Civil society organizations are already crying foul, but for the average Jones out there, they probably don't know.
Okay, so I think, unfortunately, one of the ways this kind of laws gets a lot of awareness is when someone violates it, and then they are prosecuted and it becomes public. For example, there's a lot of things these young people say. They post certain things and they say they are just cruise. It's just cruise, right? By the time people begin to get prosecuted for posting things that you just tag as cruise is basically they post a false information, disinformation. And then when you engage them to find out, okay, this thing you've posted is not actual fact, they come and say it's cruise. You understand? It's something that is very common with young people. But I think, like you said, not a lot of people know the implication of doing that.
Until they start cruising away.
Yeah, so it's when people begin to get the penalty for violating these things that it becomes more ingrained. It becomes more real. You understand? So yes, it's a way people have it in their subconscious, but it's not. Like you said, more advocacy has to be done, but until there are, I don't want to use the word scapegoats, but until there are consequences.
That's what you want to say.
Okay. Until there are consequences, right? It might be just like traffic violations. if there are no consequences for traffic violations, people will continue to violate traffic, right? But when you hear that you take BRT lane and then your car is going to get impounded, and the car gets impounded, everybody will take.
Mr. Love, let me quickly take you up on this. A good number of groups, Guild of Editors, SERAP, and a number of other people are already crying foul, particularly concerning Section 24, saying that false or misleading information is very vague. So there are references to the vagueness and unpredictability of the amended law, which some even say hinders business confidence and infrastructure development in the nation. What is your take on that?
We have a young and youthful population, and the purpose of law is not necessarily to prosecute; it's to regulate. And we need to create not just advocacy and awareness, but we need to invert how to unleash the energy of our youthful population for productive use, so that it limits their exchanging that energy for wrong use. So for me, we look at how much is being made by our digital creators. They are smiling to the bank because they are adopting the technology in such a way, social media, in such a way that is for productive use. So for me, the focus, it must be is a two-edged sword. So you must be able to drive the process of engaging the young population, so that and creating clusters and hubs where they can plug in and they can learn, they can update their skills, upgrade their capacity, and be able to make meaningful contribution to the society. When you do that, what you are telling them that it's rewarding to use the internet to advance their personal life. And all the people you call Yahoo boys, the two brothers that I gave, that are now serving jail terms. They were catching crews for $1,000. Just $1,000. I mean, it's not too much money, but if you know that with my intellectual property, with the knowledge that I have, I will be able to access resources to take care of myself. And one other thing I would like to say is that the social media is not as real as it's portrayed, particularly the bling. So you need a revolution of values to show young people that you can't be patient. You are going to still generate your income. You are still going to make a lot of money by doing your beats, doing all the hard work. Now, for the guilds of editors and journalists that are concerned, what we need to do is create, like my brother said, an avalanche of advocacy and enlightenment, and at the same time create opportunities for young people to tap into their energies and unleash it for productive use.
Right. Let me just come in there. I mean, alluding to the first part of this conversation, we do know that there's a new, more compact education curriculum that the federal government is releasing, and I'm thinking, can we start from the very beginning? Children nowadays, especially in primary schools, they're doing ICT, yes. They're doing coding, and what if we just have social media responsibility as part of the core structure of their ICT study, so that they can learn from the very beginning that catching crews is not really a good thing. That when there's social media response, because the kids have gadgets now, there's almost nothing you can do. We try and take it away, and then we give it back to them. But kids 6, 7, my 6-year-olds can navigate my phone, just tell it on, and do blah, blah, blah. I say, "Mommy, don't worry, I'm playing my games." And he's just 6. So if they teach them from now to be social media responsible, so that if they do eventually get on the internet, they'll know that I shouldn't do this, and I should not do that. They will know the do's and don'ts from the beginning.
So the reason why you can't take the gadget is called dopamine. Dopamine is like cocaine addiction. Once you are screen glued, you have to pick up your phone. So you have to help young people, like your 6-year-old. You really have to help. Mark Zuckerberg is insisting his kids are not going to have access until a certain age, yes, because of the impact in rewiring their brain so that they focus more on eye tech rather than eye touch.
Sure.
So the microwave generation of I can get anything done at any point in time without the process of life, because you can't build a great family on the internet, you can't eat your food, you can't cook, certain things can happen just within the media space. They are real life story, friendship, family. So you need to be able to do that that curriculum that ensure that, just like you mentioned, it's ingrained in the ICT framework that you need to be socially responsible, because for every right that you have, there is a corresponding responsibility that you must display.
You know, you're already getting into a department I call lifestyle department.
Yes,
we'll come to that some other time. But Mr. Onyekwe, let me ask you this. There is one of the things that disturbs many people is what they call the expanded surveillance powers by security agencies of the very active Nigerian on social media. Now, there are those who say even the US government is asking those applying for its visas to make social media, their social lives or social whatever, public. How does this affect, in your opinion, freedom?
For me, I don't think it affects freedom in any way if you are not caught doing the wrong thing. The amendment does provide those agencies more power to monitor online spaces. What the idea really is to catch cyber criminals faster. So if you're not a cyber criminal and you're not engaging yourself in anything that is related to that, I really don't think there's anything you have to worry about. My take is just like pepper soup. If you cook it responsibly, it's sweet. But if abused, then if there's so much pepper, then it burns everyone's tongue, right? So use it well. The social media space is supposed to be used for something positive. People are using it for businesses, right? You rarely can grow a business today without the use of the social media. So if you're found doing something wrong, doing something outside of the norm or what the law expects you to do, then absolutely you can go in for it. But then we need our civil societies, we need our courts to come in here. We need the media to also act as references, because there's a really thin line between what the agencies can do and a breach of your freedom of speech. So yes, the amendment is there. It does allow them to check your social media handles. Even the U.S. Embassy does that as well. But really, the idea is not to harm anyone who is.
Well, Mr. Yekwe, just 1 second, Mr. Yekwe. Aren't you concerned, because you heard Mr. Love here talk about the fact that it's not, the law is not intended to do this, it's intended to do that. Aren't you concerned that these expanded surveillance projects can be interpreted willy-nilly, even by security agents themselves? Some of them have no idea what this whole law is about. So giving them this authority to do what we are asking them to do without necessarily giving guardrails, you don't think there could be a problem? Because I'm talking about the enforcement of this law now.
As far as enforcement is concerned, I think that's a different ballgame entirely. The security agencies does have the responsibility of getting the needed trainings and understanding exactly what the boundaries and the nuances of this law is. But I think that is where education and some level of digital literacy will be needed here. As far as enforcement is concerned, Like I said earlier, we need a strengthened judicial system. If our laws are not, if our courts are not doing what they're supposed to do, if the civil societies are not there to also help in all of this, then we have a problem. The security agencies does have a responsibility to carry out their duties, but then it has to be within the confines of the law, and how the law is interpreted now becomes a different thing entirely. I think that's where we now have to bring in our judicial systems.
We'll come to the interpretation, but let me ask you, Mr. Olatunji, this same question, because the security official that uses, forgive me, this is not to indict, this is not to shame or anything. A security official that uses a 3310 Nokia has to legislate the life of someone, a young 24-year-old who is using an iPhone 16 Pro Max or a Google Pixel Pro Fold.
Don't forget Samsung.
You know, I'm even just leaving that out. Now, it is natural for them to interpret this law in any way they want, because, as we said, a good number of people still believe it is vague and consequently can be interpreted by the fellow doing the arresting as vaguely. Before you even get to the point of proving you are right or you are wrong, you've already cooled off in, where's that place you said the other time? You've already cooled off in a place for like a day, maybe two, before you are released on bail. So help us understand how this might be a challenge.
I think you're right. It actually is a challenge, considering the society that we live in and the history all of us as Nigerians have had to live with our law enforcement. However, I would like to say that, like Uche has mentioned, the only way we can restrict things like this is through the courts, right? The reason why the law was amended was as a result of outcry from the previous one in 2015. We have an updated one now. Nothing says that this current one cannot be updated in the future. So it's important that there are guardrails. It's important that folks from civil society, journalists like yourself, help to contest the boundaries of these things. On the flip side, it might interest you to know that I think maybe as a result of this law, the EFCC has had the highest number of convictions in 2024. They had the highest number of convictions they've ever had in their history, right? Because the law has actually empowered them to do certain things. But we also have our own fundamental human rights. And the only way we can enforce those things is through the help of people like my brother here, who is a lawyer. You understand? Now, the issue of personal discomfort between when you are when you are arrested and when you can get reprieve, that's another question entirely. But I think it's something, we are not where we used to be. This law is a significant improvement on what it used to be. So feedback like this is important for us to be able to push back to the government and say, for example, we mentioned misinformation. There's misinformation, there's disinformation, and there's malinformation, right? Sometimes people post things they don't even know that is false. For example, you post a picture of 2023, 2025, and refer to current events. It's possible you made a mistake. Now, there's no differentiation between that kind of misinformation and someone who deliberately posts that because he has an agenda, and then someone who just wants to disinform people. So those are some of the gray areas that I think the law will probably need to fine-tune over the future, so that it's not just vague, like you said. If we need to determine what action is misinformation, what is malinformation, and what is a disinformation, because people make mistakes. You shouldn't punish them for making those mistakes.
Mr. Latunji, I have an agenda this morning. Sorry, because the thing is, okay. So I saw a video. I belong to a group of celebrity special marshals, and we got into we found a video, right, that talked about the operations of a special marshal, no, of a regular marshal of the Road Safety Commission, beating up a guy. Of course, there was the concern because, hey, it's as if we all know that these things happen. But here we are now, finding out that this particular video was about 2, maybe 3 years ago, and the references to it was that, okay, this law has been, the case has been dealt with and all the officials, well, anyway, the case has been summarily dealt with. But how many people will be aware of that? I don't know if there is a way to, when you receive a video now, maybe I should be asking you and Mr. Ochi, but I don't know if there is a way you can track, okay, this video that was forwarded to me yesterday, was the original video came up in 2022 or 2020. Because this whole proving thing in court is going to cause a lot of problems.
The issues are simple. It's not easy, but you need to be able to decipher it and be able to separate the chaff from the wheat. What is clear is technology will keep advancing and will eventually catch up, where you are going to still be able to know the date, undated stuff. You are still going to be able to, but the focus should be, how do we create an enabling environment and unleash the energy of our young people for productive use? Once they do that and they know that they can make a living without necessarily extending their framework to crime, then you will not necessarily eradicate it, but you will reduce it drastically. And for the law enforcement agents and agents, Nigerian police, they are one of the most effective police force in the world when they are adequately mobilized and with resources. They can get a lot of things done. So the ball is in the court of both the civil society, both the government, to ensure that they are adequately trained. Consistently, they must go through, they must undergo training. So the framework that needs to happen is, we can't leave everything to government. All hands must be on deck.
Do you think, from what Mr. Olatunji just said, my apologies again, Shola, do you think the police is adequately equipped now to enforce the Cybercrimes Act?
No, the EFCC is empowered by the law. So they are the prosecuting, they are the enforcement agency.
But they don't really ultimately make the arrests.
Yes.
Because so, the first point of call is calling the police.
Yes, is the police. So for me, I sat down with the commissioner of police some years ago, and he told me, Christian, how am I going to ensure that this entire environment, when I have 34,000 naira as money for fuel, to be able to, So we need to insist, when the way you treat those who secure your lives and those who train your children, when you teach them and you treat them the way we do, we cannot be complaining. So we need to insist that government must adequately make provision for the police and the teachers, because the teachers are going to educate, then the police are going to secure. So the future of a nation is dependent on how you treat these two people. It's clear how you are going to turn out in 10, 15, 20 years. That's why when there was a free education revolution, you saw that adequate, more than 25% budget was given to education, and a lot was given to security. There was a point in time that even health inspectors, they will come to your house to ensure that you are doing the right thing in terms of health, so that they prevent a lot of crises.
That was in the 70s, Mr.
So that's what I'm trying to say. That is the focus. Invest resources in security infrastructure, including not just equipment, the people. Let them go through training. If they are well trained, if you don't train them, don't blame them.
Give them good phones.
Right, and as I would say, a lot of these things, from what you've just said, are intertwined. We've left, the Cybersecurity Act to actually ensuring, a set of people in society are adequately taken care of, so that they can do their jobs responsibly. So, how do these things begin to work? What ministries or agencies should come up with maybe meetings with people, town hall meetings, to bring everybody together to discuss these things to ensure that everybody is on board, everybody knows where they come in, what they should be doing to make maybe an act like the Cybersecurity Act, work, for instance.
Eternal vigilance is the price of liberty. Everybody must pay adequate attention. I can facilitate a stakeholders engagement. It's not, the judiciary working with my brother, working with Uche, we can make this happen. We can make this happen. I'm sure the government is also watching us. We will write them, and channels are going to be involved. We can do a really exciting stakeholders engagement, October, November, December, or we can plan for first quarter of next year. If everybody, because I don't like just talk shop. We got to move from talking to acting, so that you invite the Inspector General of Police, everybody is, and you develop a curriculum. Okay. Teachers are going to be there. Everybody is going to work together to make it happen.
Mr. Onyekpe, I want to add fuel to this fire.
Yes, so
particularly looking at something, and I'm sure everyone else is going to be wondering. Mr. Onyekpe, add AI to this conversation.
Yes.
Can you hear me, Mr. Onyekpe? Sorry?
Not clearly. Can you say that again, please?
But can you hear me better now?
Yes, it's better now.
Jolly. Add AI to this conversation. And this whole idea of, you see your face. Someone showed me a picture in the course of the week and says throwback video. Throwback picture.
Throwback with us.
I said, hey, hi.
Hey, hi.
So that has definitely, you may prove me right or wrong, Mr. Onyekpe, exacerbated the challenges of digital transition, digital evolution over time. Add AI to this conversation. I don't even know how to put the question to you, Mr. Onyekpe, but because the young people are going to use it, unfortunately, we are not interested in the law. We just want to we just want to, as Mr. Advocacy said, catch cruise.
Yes.
Have fun. Because our world is already stressing us. So add AI, and it's powerful and impactful evolution to this conversation we are having, Mr. Onyekpe.
Frankly, I had a lot of glitches. I didn't quite hear everything that you said. But if I correct me if I'm wrong, what you're asking is that we talk about how artificial intelligence impacts all of these conversations. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Artificial intelligence does provide another layer of governance crisis as far as cybersecurity is concerned, because now we are being faced with a situation where everyone is on the internet, everyone has access to artificial intelligence. There's a bunch of them coming up every day, and it's in the hands of everyone. So how we use it now becomes an issue. It is a conversation that needs to be had. It is one that has no solution yet, because even those who are bringing up these artificial intelligence solutions have not been able to figure out yet how they are going to govern it properly. It is a very useful tool. However, if wrongly used, it can be very, very damaging. There's been a lot of very advanced cyber attacks that are being crafted using artificial intelligence, and I do think that one of the ways that we could begin to provide some information is through education. That's just the only way. We in Nigeria, and I don't know how far we've come in terms of providing all of this governance around artificial intelligence. I want to be careful not to. We are talking about misinformation here, so I wouldn't want to be found wanted doing that. But absolutely, AI does provide a very, very another layer of technicalities, another layer of complexity to the issue of cyber stalking and the issue of misinformation. And that the only way that, like I said, that we can address this is through education. we need to begin to imbibe. We need to start putting in, inculcating some of these education into from a very grassroots, at least from secondary at least. There has to be a curriculum set out for artificial intelligence and the healthy use of artificial intelligence. That's a broader conversation and definitely one that needs to be had.
Right, that takes me back to what I mentioned earlier. It needs to, once we're restructuring and we're bringing in, new curriculum and standards for schools, we should embed some of these things inside it, such that these young ones will start to learn responsible social media right from a very young age, and then it's inculcated in them. They already know the do's and don'ts from that. So how do we begin to do that? Because even when when you're online and you happen upon some of the AI, some will tell you, don't just use AI, use it responsibly, use it to educate yourself, use it to do things that will make you look good. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. Don't just use AI detrimentally. Use it to do something constructive and not destructive. And how do we begin to have those conversations as well?
Right, absolutely. I think we need to bring all the stakeholders to a round table. So we cannot really achieve this without the input of the government. They are the one who determine the curriculum for schools, both private and public schools. Some countries have been able to achieve it. China, for instance, was able to shut down their AI tool when their students were taking exams. So you can imagine how controlled the use of artificial intelligence is in China. Are we anywhere close to that level of that advanced level of control? No way. We're not. Can we get there? Absolutely, we can. But it has to start with one step, and that step is government actually coming down to realizing how deadly and how dangerous it is if this use of artificial intelligence is not properly controlled, and bringing all the stakeholders to a round table to actually have a conversation and determine exactly at what level and at what point do we begin to put in these measures. How do we inculcate it? How do we incorporate it into our curriculums, where students are being taught how to use the artificial intelligence responsibly? It is a very powerful tool. It is a very lucrative tool. The cyber hackers, the men of the other world are using it, and they are using it very well to their advantage. We need to learn how to use it to protect ourselves. We need to learn how to use it to defend ourselves from some of these cyber attacks as well.
Right.
It's an interesting discussion we're having. But Mr. Olatunji, I'll come to you on this. We have barely 1 minute. What should we be saying to young people now?
I think the first thing is be responsible. Okay. There's a saying that the internet never forgets. So you have to be responsible. You're not just living for now, you're living for your future. So it's important that in your posts, in your interactions, in having fun, you are responsible, because there's no excuse in law. If you carry out actions and someone sues you, you might go to jail. So it's important that you are responsible. Speaking about AI, AI has has leveled the platform for a lot of industries and sectors. So if, as a young person, if you are smart, if you are ambitious enough, it's something that you can use to transform your life. That's just my quick word for young people.
Your closing comments, Mr. Lau.
If it is to be, it is up to me. You have to take personal responsibility and understand that you have a digital footprint. Like you have your thumbprint, like you have your, it's just unique, and your DNA is unique to you. You got to say, if it is to be, it is up to me. I must play my role. I must contribute my quota. I must engage journalists, government. We have to do these stakeholders. I will challenge my brother, Uche, and I'll talk to him, and I'll also disturb you. and we'll make it happen in such a way that we're not just talking about it, we're walking the talk, and we're shaping a future that is great for our nation. Nigeria it's going to be great again.
Yeah.
Well, one last comment from you also, Mr. Onyekwe. And what I would like you to speak to is the advocacy that needs to go, the communication of this law to the young people in particular, because I'm not sure that the young people were in the room when the laws were being adjusted.
Yeah, I want to say that the law is like a goalkeeper. It can save goals, but it can also concede goals if the defenders don't play well. So, fighting fake news is a teamwork. It is one that requires the effort of every one of us. We are all stakeholders. And I think the younger ones needs to understand that there are consequences for every of your actions. So before you act, you need to pause, you need to think, you need to verify before you post.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, Mr. Onyekwe, you just had to bring in football. Hey. Thank you so much for your time all the same. Uche Onyekwe is a cybersecurity specialist. We've also had Oluleke Olatunji, Chief Information Security Officer, the Alternative Bank, as well as Mr. Christian Love, who is a digital technology attorney. Thank you, gentlemen, for your time.
Thank you. Thank you. Glad to be here.
When we return, we are talking about something that Lagos dealt with years ago.
Also, they thought.
Or so we thought.
Or so they thought.
We'll be right back on that.